The whole purpose of the video is to talk about how consistency is what gets you to your result. This is probably one of the most amazing human beings that you probably come across in your life, and that adds a lot of value into your life, and you're glad that you've met. And he's done a lot for me and my family when it comes to health and wellness, and educated me on many things. And he's one of the first people that has kind of joined our gym when we first started in our old locations, and kind of tried everything under the sun to get fit. At one point in his life, he was a very unfit human being. I'll show you his picture somewhere. The point being is that I wanted to make this video because I had told him that if he takes up running seriously, then we would join him on an official run wherever we find something to do. And unfortunately, it turned out to be Wadi Rum, and as you can see by the amount of sweat that's on Fuad's head, it's extremely hot today. You started off with us in CrossFit many, many years ago, and you were struggling with your weight and fitness. And I want you to talk about just how that journey has gone from your successes to failures to successes to kind of trying to reach your goal, where you are at this point now, fingers crossed, going to attempt your first 10K in sand as well, which is going to make it more interesting. Let us know what you've gone through over the last, God knows how many years it's been now. 8 years or so?
Yeah, so I guess it's been a bit of a love-hate relationship with being healthy or getting fit. We're in the old location. I joined for a while, disappeared for a while, came back, but then for several years, kind of had in the back of my head that it's time to get back working on trying to get in better health. So I reached out to you, and you suggested that I start working with Haya. You figured the right fit for me.
She's the only one that would put up with you, to be honest.
So it's been 3 years now, and I feel like I've seen a transformation. One, it's no longer a drag. It's now part of my routine, just as simple as I have to brush my teeth in the morning. I have to wake up and go to the gym on the days that we have agreed upon and put the work in, and I've seen the results.
But tell me about the milestones that you've gone through, because I've witnessed them firsthand, and you're very much a nerd when it comes to a lot of the data points along your journey, which is it's a fantastic thing to witness. But there were specific milestones within that journey that kind of showed you the progress. It wasn't about the weight loss per se, but it was about achieving certain things that you had gone through.
Yeah, so the weight loss just came with it, especially more recently. But things like
how much did you weigh when you?
So when I started 3 years ago, I was 115 kilos, and today I'm 97.4 kilograms.
But that's not the whole story, because your muscle mass has gone up significantly.
Or it's maintained. It stayed the same as the fat has fallen. The percentage, not the percentage, the actual muscle mass has stayed the same. So okay, that's a win for me. But some of the milestones, being able to do, the first time I was able to do a push-up a few months ago, first time able to do a pull-up. So these are all things that I never thought I could do.
How many pull-ups can you do now?
So now I can probably do 6 to 7. And Haya even has me now strapping on a weight belt, and though it's not a lot of weight, but now I'm adding to my weight. So
but
it feels
a lot of people assume that a couple of months of work gets you there, but in reality, how long did it take you to get to that kind of milestone?
The first pull-up, it probably took 2 years. Yeah, it was frustrating. First using every band in the gym and then using half of them, reaching the point where I'm able to actually get my chin up to the bar without any assistance. And it was like, come down. I had this big cheesy grin on my face, like I really did that. And so it makes you realize that you can do things that you thought were impossible. A dip, a push-up, which any healthy man should be able to do. And for me, they 100%. Seemed unattainable, even unfathomable. And now for me, it's a reality. And it's like, okay, how many, what's the prescription? Do I need to do 3 sets of 8 or 3 sets of 10? Fine. And, maybe struggle a bit towards the end, but I'm able to do them. They don't seem like an impossibility.
So let's talk about the running, because this is for me a very interesting turn of events, which I didn't expect, to be very honest with you. Where did that, because you've always been a runner most of your life, and you've loved it so much, right?
Yeah, so when I first met Haya, I told her anything she asks me to do, I'll do, except for running and burpees. And I hope that this doesn't remind her to ask me to start doing burpees now. But so she actually kind of was flexible and didn't ask me to run. And then, I don't know, maybe 9 months ago, She's like, I want to try something. Let's try something. And so that usually means that I'm going to regret it. But so we went upstairs to the treadmills and she's like, run. And so we started running and she's had me doing.
What was that first run look like?
I think it was not very fast, but probably like 8 kilometers an hour for a few minutes and then slowing down and then back. So it was more like intervals, and realized that I didn't trip, fall, die. And so then eventually every week we do 30 minutes of that. And at one point in time, I realized that I can run for 3 minutes at probably a pretty decent speed, and I feel good doing it. And actually started looking forward to those interval days. And then in February, I thought, why don't I just try running and see if I can run? And I went. It was like a early Saturday. The gym was empty, and I went up onto the treadmill and I ran 5K uninterrupted. And I never in my wildest dreams imagined that I could do that. And so then I decided that I want to actually take it more seriously and structured. And then I made the mistake of telling you to. And 2 months later, here we are dying in the heat.
But the progress of where you've come from running to kind of actually enjoying it at this point, maybe not during it. And obviously this is the first step, and then going into a 21 and maybe a marathon, who knows? Because thinking of a marathon, it's impossible at this point. But you also thought that about a pull-up, and you also thought about a push-up, and probably even running at that point. But the whole point is, what I'm trying to get to is that it didn't come easy. It wasn't an easy road to kind of walk through. There were ups and downs. There were setbacks along the way. But it's about kind of showing up every single day and doing this and finding that goal that you want to reach at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you helped me. You gave me when I said that I want to do a 10K, and then you found this that we're doing today. We looked at the dates, and so you gave me this 6-week or 8-week program to get ready for the 10K. 12 week. Okay. I skipped a couple of weeks. So and I remember a few weeks ago, Happy, I'd been doing every single run that you had on the list.
Until you got sick, yeah.
No, not until I got sick. There was one run, it was really hard. I don't know if it was like a 6K or an 8K. And so I remember I was like pleased with myself that I did it. But then I went and I told you, I saw you. And I was like, yeah, I did it, but I didn't do it as fast as you wanted. And I was like covered, drenched in sweat, and felt like it was the hardest run I'd done in my life. And you just looked at me, you're like, I wrote do this, so you need to do this. I need you to be ready. And so went back to like just doing everything exactly how it was written in the schedule, except when illness or something prevented it. So I stuck to the program, and I feel ready.
If you are serious about this, then I will join you on your first run. And I mean, thinking in hindsight, I probably thought you wouldn't do this, and I'm not a runner by any stretch of the imagination, but it's fun to see people achieve something and a huge milestone within their life, and that's the whole purpose of why we're here, or why I like doing this, is because your life has changed in many different ways, from your eating habits to your family life and all this stuff, and it's a very attainable thing if you want to put in the work, but it doesn't come easy.
And I was kind of hoping up until last night that you would cancel.
I know I might find a way to break my leg or something. So why do you keep showing up? That's a great question.
So when I told you about the running, I don't know. I just when I realized that I can do 5K, I feel like there's a lot of things that I'm doing now that I couldn't do a year or two ago. There's hobbies that I picked up.
Exactly.
Yeah,
playing paddle.
I mean, if anyone a couple of years ago had asked me to do anything other than to get up and get something from the fridge, I would have found an excuse not to. And now I find that, I'm going and I'm playing paddle. We were in Lagave a few weeks ago, and some people wanted to play ultimate frisbee with me and my sons. Sat there and ran and played and sweat and had fun. All these are things that I would have avoided. And so now
or maybe not even be able to do.
Definitely not be able to do, but not even like, I wouldn't have even lifted a finger. So now I find I'm able to do things that I couldn't do, and it means that I'm enjoying things that I couldn't enjoy. And running isn't very enjoyable. I still haven't run far enough to get that, runner's high yet.
I think it's
but I don't know, we'll keep chasing it. But I want, so I'm 48 now, almost 49. And if I can get, by the time I hit 50, my wife says that this is my midlife crisis. But if I can get a marathon,
midlife crisis.
if I can get a marathon, and then not just to, mark it off of the list, but actually, at one point in time, start looking at myself and saying, I'm healthy, I'm fit, I'm an athlete, I'm a runner. All of those were things that throughout almost my entire life since adolescence were always, a daydream. Then I think it's the best thing I can do for myself. And then also the trickle down effect, be an example to my kids and be there for my
100%.
family.
100%.
So, yeah.
That's amazing.
When they're mad at me, I can run.
I can run away.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Fuad. So we've finished you finished the run. Give us a concluding remark or thoughts on how things went yesterday.
So I crossed the finish desk or whatever it is in one piece.
There was a line.
I didn't see
crossed.
I just saw a table, and she told me that you're done. I think I was slower than I would have liked to be. I walked probably a lot more than I had planned on, but it was the sand. I think that was the biggest obstacle in the shoes and stuff. But I finished. And,
So was running in the sand any different than regular running?
Yeah, it's endless, and you have no way of knowing when it's going to end. Tried to come up with different systems to trick my mind into thinking it's okay, and they all failed. And walk some, run some, jog some. I didn't crawl, so that's good. And,
you were close, though.
And at the end, I had the last kilometer. It was nice and firm, and so I felt like I was running again, at least for the last kilometer, until I saw you shirtless at the finish line. I finished it, and I got a medal, just like all the other 100+ people.
It's for participation.
Exactly. Probably, I think I've done a lot of medals for participation. I did like Little League when I was 10 and 12, and I didn't really care much about them. I think this one is probably the biggest deal to me. I feel like I accomplished something.
And what else did you accomplish in this trip?
So today, you guys took me climbing, and I didn't tell you how freaked out I was about it, but I kept my cool and was able to get my bruised toes into the shoes, and I made it up to the top. This was what's it called? Top rope. Top rope. So someone was holding my weight, making sure that I don't fall, and it was painful, but I did something else that I never thought I would do, So this was a very the weekend of firsts.
So the concluding remarks is what can you talk about, or what can you tell people about mental limits that are placed on yourself that maybe don't exist in reality? Physical versus the mental.
I think the hardest thing is the first step, and actually then kind of repeating until it's no longer difficult. And then next thing you know, you feel like, and if you're lucky, look like a different person. Today I'm the oldest I've ever been in my life, but I feel pretty young, and it's a good feeling. So I want to lose more weight. I want to get more muscular, but right now I feel better than I've felt in several decades, and it's just from going in each day and following the program, and it works. It's worked.
Would you say for most people achieving their goals, it's more mental than it is physical?
I think so, because I've tried the same multiple times, and the excuses or reasons I had to drop the ball were never good enough to validate, I kick myself in the ass all the time. Like, why didn't I do this 5, 10, 15 years ago? But the reality is I did try 5, 10, and 15 years ago, but it was never a consistent and persistent effort.
So what was different this time? Why do you think you stuck to it? Why do you think you're where you are now versus when you've tried many times before?
I don't know. I think, there wasn't some big aha moment, but I think I realized that if I don't turn things around now, there will be a point where there's never a point where it's too late, but I'll definitely reach this tipping point where it becomes almost too difficult. And so I guess the right time is whenever it works. And so I guess this was the right time. And
but even on this journey of success or of where you are, and obviously it hasn't ended, and all the changes that you've done have to stay in place. But you failed, and I quote unquote, along the way as well. Like your weight has gone up slightly, and you've gone back on track, and you've missed workout days, but you've come back to it. And in my opinion, what's different now than what was before is that you've made the choice that even if you've had bad days or bad weeks, you've come back to it, and you didn't take the easy choice of giving up just because it wasn't the perfect scenario. Is that fair to say?
I think so. And I mean, I think I haven't missed much. With this 12-week, schedule that we had for the running, it was only when it was completely out of my hands because I was sick.
Yeah.
And then, as soon as I felt up to it, went back in.
But the old you, do you think you would have dealt with that differently if that happened? If you were out for a week?
The old me, I would have panted and sweat after 100 meters and then said, all right, I've tried that, been there. No need to continue. I just, I don't know, I think I've transformed physically and mentally in the past 3 years to the point where I've started to believe that even if something is difficult, it doesn't mean that it's impossible. And it's been proven to me over and over again that I'm able to do things that I didn't think or believe I could do just by continuing to try them. And so I think I just have a little bit more faith in my own abilities or my own potential to, for this old dog to learn new tricks, I guess.
Would you agree with this statement that motivation is a myth?
I think you make your own motivation. I don't know. I think I would agree.
Would you feel that momentum is far superior than
Yes,
the motivation that you
absolutely.
have?
It's just, it didn't work very well last night.
But you finished.
I finished, but it was like just keep on moving one foot after the other. But so that was, there was some sand getting in the way of that. But in every other aspect, yeah, just do it today, do it tomorrow, do it the day after, and plan on showing up and putting in the time and the effort. And I think that's what makes it easy. Even the days that you're not in the mood, you've just ingrained in yourself that now this is a habit, this is my schedule, and so momentum, definitely.
So last two things then. The first one, what would you say to people that look at a 10K or looking at rock climbing or thinking about a 21K and thinking that's impossible, because that's where you were a short while ago, where you thought you would never be that person that did that, right?
Yeah.
What would you tell them if you could tell them one thing and you were in an elevator with them and you had to tell them your 30-second pitch to them?
I'll just say that in my wildest dreams, I never thought that I would do something like that. And then one day I decided I wanted to try, and it takes a lot of hard work, takes a lot of effort, but it's doable. And there's people far older, far more frail than that I saw running on the trail, or that I've seen online, and their transformations or their dedication to achieve a goal is far more miraculous than mine, I think. And I think it's just with enough willpower and dedication, I think you can do anything you put your mind to.
So
But you have to be patient. It's not going to happen overnight.
So would that mean that dancing is on the table soon?
No, never. Yeah, no.
All right.
If you're my partner, sure. But no.
So last part, how much of a percentage would you put on the plan that was put out for you over the last 3 years or so? And that includes people like your trainer and people that have helped you with your diet and so on and so forth, having that network around you, and the amount of work that you had to put in yourself.
I mean, the work that Haya put in, figuring out where my strengths, where my weaknesses, where my fears lie, and optimizing sometimes on the fly. Show up and tell her, I've got this twinging pain here or there, and immediately modifying things, but in a way to still meet our goals. I think that's been indispensable. There's online training plans. I could probably put into ChatGPT what my goals are and get some sort of plan spit back out of me. But teaching me the right way to do things, the safe way to do things. And now I think I've reached a point where I also, even without direct observation, I've been trained to the point where I can follow instructions and do things with some independence. I think that's been indispensable.
But it doesn't take away from the fact that you've had to put in
I
a shit ton of work to get to where you are.
Yes, but I would have been running against the wind as opposed to having it behind my back, pushing me in the right direction.
So it's safe to say that you've put everything in your advantage to make sure you succeed.
I've been very fortunate to have a wise person once told me there's no such thing as luck. So I've been very.
I'm sure there's a second part to that saying.
I've been blessed with meeting people who care about my well-being, my health, my fitness, and have invested a lot of time and effort into helping me become the person I want to be. And I think I've told you guys this before, but I'm indebted to you both.
Well, I think or at least I am indebted to you many times over. So a splash in the sea, as they say. Dr. Fuad, I appreciate you agreeing to put yourself on camera and talk about
I never agreed to the camera.
Are you surprised there's the camera in your face?
Yeah.
And trusting this journey, I guess, of getting to where you are and trying new things. And hopefully this will influence other people to think what they think is impossible might in reality be something very possible with the right formula put in place. So thank you.
Thank you.